everything. It's lugging again. All right, folks. If we drop, I'm sorry. Yeah, you couldn't miss that opportunity. That was a classic. Just a banger. Those moments of timing you don't get those every day. All right, I got to find out. I don't know if I'm still live on. Yeah, I'm not live on Twitter anymore. Okay, I gotta fix that. Real quick while this builds. Nacho, I'm not even doing a dashboard because it says I'm live. Okay. I'm not even using a dashboard because they charge money for it every month. So why would I do that? just to have it, just to have a dashboard. Does this editor? Yeah, this editor will do everything. Python, it'll do anything that isn't compiled. It'll do anything that's not compiled. So. Okay. Why is whatever? We still building? Yeah. Building config. That will take forever. Boom. Okay. Yeah, so I now work with Richard Boyd worked on this. Actually, he should be a father soon. He should be a father today. I should text him because I know they were going to induce yesterday. Unless there was like the hospital was slammed or something. Anyway, yeah, so he worked on this embedded editor for the Cloud9 editor. Is anyone using remote developer environments? Anyone in chat? Are you using like code spaces for K8s or something like that? Let me know. I'm curious. Curious how popular that is. Yo, happy first Father's Day, Nacho. That's awesome. Good for you, man. Oh no. Editor overloaded again. I guess I'll turn down the audio bit rate. I don't know. The video bit rate is still 6,000, which is what Twitch wants. Yeah, you're welcome, man. That's super exciting. So this is all the code we're doing. Frequently use the code editor in SageMaker Studio. Is that because you want to use like Jupyter notebooks and you've got support for everything right there? I guess that makes sense. Because like, why have a Git workflow for that? Oh no, we got the spinning wheel of death. It's not been a good day for software performance, chat. Ooh, that hurt. That hurt. Oh no, YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth stability. The glue text editor? Yeah, I've seen that. Man, I gotta figure out why this is lagging so badly. Melky might be able to help me out later. He owes me. He dialed me up last week for some Lambda advice. YouTube is saying my stream status is poor. I mean, Docker, I'm sure, is consuming everything right now, which is fine. But our memory pressure is very low. Obviously, encoding would be very CPU intensive, though. But still, we're only like 50% user time. It just can't keep up. The video encoder can't keep up. I don't know why. Nothing changed since yesterday. Boom, boom, boom. We just got to get one compilation off. We'll test that out and see what we get. But yeah, so I guess my theory as to why this is so different is that there's just more dependencies in these other Lambda functions, so they just have more to cache, and maybe as a result they live less time in their cache. There's some caching for zip-based functions, not nearly as impressive and as full-featured as the container-based caching, which is incredible. I think I've talked about this on the stream a lot, but the stuff that AWS did to make container caching work is incredible. Really incredible work. They, oh God, even the browser's lagging. I think that this is one of the coolest papers I read last year. And I think I read like 30 papers last year. Not a lot, but enough that I think this is the best. But yeah, serializing container layers into chunks and then encrypting each chunk, and then using the hash of each chunk to encrypt itself, and then sharing basically those chunks amongst users is genius. I think that's very, very clever stuff. They won best paper for this, and they deserved it. But that is just some clever stuff. What features do Lambda equivalents in other cloud providers lack? They're just underinvested. Like they typically have worse cold starts. They typically have less, like the nice features that you get in Lambda, like the event source mapping, for example, which polls for a queue for you. You get less of that. It's less effective. And I think they really just, to be honest, one of the best advices I can give you for your career, but also for software, is to put yourself in the fast moving stream, of either money if you want to make money at work, or of technological updates if you want reliable, if you want software where companies are investing. And for the longest time at AWS, it's been in serverless and Lambda, so you get new things faster, and they're better, and they're more performant, and they're cheaper, and all that sort of stuff. And I think the other clouds are focused way more on some of their core compute primitives, and then they don't have as many of the ancillary services that AWS has. They tend to have, like, Google has Google PubSub and Firebase, and Spanner, but they don't really have a great key value offering, I don't think. And some of their like networking primitives aren't quite as good if you're going that direction. I don't think they have good time series data store yet. So there's just like a bunch of those type of things that they don't have yet. And AWS has all of those, so they can kind of focus on building these like great integration everywhere. And that's what like Lambda needs. Lambda in and of itself is pretty useless. Like just a Lambda function that does this, like this is a dumb, 25 lines of code. You can run that anywhere. That's not really the hard part. The beautiful part about Lambda is like this little event that we're not using here, but using that everywhere is what makes Lambda so useful. And having this like, you can push anything into Lambda in AWS, clip it and tweet. Yeah, hey Kojak, Lambda is useless without its other supporting features. That's the biggest thing. Like, it doesn't exist without the event mapping and the event system. So, and then the answer is like, you want to be in a place where other cloud providers are investing, and that's just not their serverless like function as a service product. It's other areas. This compile time is killing me. Oh, should we talk about long polling on SQS? I mean, it's a pretty cool thing. Like, okay, so. Oh no, everything's lagging right now. There we go. Wow, that was bad. My OBS still says it's working. It says it's green and no drop frames, but my system is barely responding to my mouse inputs. So yeah. Oh no, Atish. Quick question: we're using serverless on V3. Found out we can't update V4 unless we want to use the serverless dashboard. Any place to make V4? I hope somebody forks serverless. I mean, I used to work there. I was there for a long time, but they did this huge V4 licensing product change, and they have like, it's utterly thoughtless what they've just chosen to do. So I hope the community is going to fork V3 and go their own direction on it, because I don't see any reason to go to V4. You're only going to contort yourself to like make it work, and I would avoid it. So my recommendation is, if you're using a lot of the like plugins, I know that's hard, but look to migrate to something like CDK or SST. SST is probably going to have the most, the best experience for you. It's got like their live Lambda feature is great. And they've got a migrating guide where you can migrate in pieces, but I don't see any. Okay, now YouTube just says excellent connection now. I don't see any reason to stay on serverless right now, unfortunately. They haven't delivered anything that's super valuable lately at all. It's a bummer. And I think the licensing change is just kind of silly. And not only that, the refusal to update their framework to even like a one-line PR to add the new version of Python or new version of Node.js has been ridiculous. Like, I don't know why they won't just do that. Doesn't AWS lose compute by polling for you? Yeah, they do. They do. They run it for you at a loss. Hey, Sergio. Thanks again for your wishes earlier today. Good to see you. Okay, YouTube says the stream is stable now. Did it finish building? No, it's still building, so it's not this. I don't know why. I'm going to check out my stream manager on Twitch and see, because I'd closed Twitch. Sam is doing cool stuff. Yeah, so CloudFormation needs to get better. I don't quite see a path in what, I kind of think they're going to wind down Sam at some point, and it's going to be just whatever CDK plus, Sam would be, like they combine them in some way. I don't know. I don't really see a future for both CDK and Sam. It seems to be they're going to invest in one. Oh, Sergio, I never touch test containers. I'm not a Docker Compose guy. It's not for me. That has been hard. I've only ever suffered with like local stack or test containers. The local stack exec got in touch with me though and was like asking if I wanted to try it again. So maybe it's time to try it again. Oh man, Twitch is telling me that, okay. Give me an L in chat if you can't see this or if it's crappy. Average stream bitrate too high. Okay, why is OBS bitrate going too high? I might tweak my bitrate here 1 second. Looks good, okay. All right, I just turned on the bitrate. Hopefully that works. It's interesting, Twitch told me it's too high. Okay. I'll have to figure that out after. I guess, well, you kind of really can't figure it out after. You have to be live. No, I don't like layers for secrets. Boom, boom. Twitch Inspector, cut VODs, update channel title. Okay, we'll see. I'm going to try this Twitch Inspector thing to figure out why the bitrate's so bad. Okay, now it says stable. Okay, so I just tweaked it to like 5.9 and it says it's stable now. Okay, we'll see what happens. No, I don't really like layers for secrets. I don't know. You shouldn't store a layer and a secret in a layer anyway. I wrote a whole guide about this. You should use one of these options for secrets. Oh, Sergio, LocalStack is it's a company that emulates it's a company that emulates AWS services locally, and then they have like a pro tier where you can kind of pay and they give you a little bit better, more features, that sort of thing. We migrated from KMS to layers for secrets. Ended up spending more on KMS than layers. I mean, yeah, KMS is pretty spendy. What are you putting in the layer though? You're just like putting your secrets in a text file there. I mean, that works. They're not encrypted. The code's encrypted. Probably. I don't actually know if they're encrypting at rest in that S3 bucket. I would assume they are. I measured all the benchmarks. You can look at the timing here. You can mostly learn AWS without paying $1 until you get into Kubernetes, where you have to pay for the control plane, which is such a scam. Well, no, it's not a scam. Like if you want to use your own, if you want to be multi-cloud, you're going to just pay this huge tax for like your control plane, or you can use EKS, which is like their flavor of Kubernetes, but they cover the control plane. Yeah, I have a table. There's a table down here. Or is it at the top? No, it's in the TLDR at the top. Lambda secrets. There are a few options. You can use environment variables, parameter stored, standard and advanced, secrets manager, or KMS. These are not a super straightforward answer. It's going to depend on what you're doing. And it's going to depend on, hey, Coachy, good to see you. It's going to depend on what you're doing, and it's going to depend on what kind of secrets you have. Excuse me, you have in the blast radius for those secrets. I'll plug this in chat. It's a lot to think about. The free tier for a year, so you can create a new AWS account. Okay, so Sergio, let's teach you something important that you should learn. We just did this yesterday on stream, so you saw the IAM control. Wait, what do you mean? Oh no, is it really that short? My SSO is too short. I talk about, yeah, regularly. So I talk about the secrets and manager extension, secrets and parameter extension there. Sergio, if you set up that IAM console, or the IAM identity center like I did, you can create new AWS accounts with like one button, and then you get another free year on that tier. Like I set up that account yesterday for my backups for my Synology box, and it's free for another year. So you can do that. Yeah, so it's the IAM Identity Center. Oh no, my typing is even lagging. Yeah, you do have to create another email, but I just use the plus. That's all. I just do my name plus @gmail or whatever. Yeah, so you can just set this up. I don't know. Oh, I do have access to see it. Okay. Hey, the Hitman. I didn't know accounts in IAM. Yeah, you get every AWS account you create, you get a year on the free tier. Even if you do a plus account. Yeah, so don't worry about that. I'm not, if I was root, it would give me the option to create a new account, but I don't. But yeah, so I just created this yesterday, this account for my backups, and that's like another free tier. Yeah, free year. But I mean, what are you using that's not in the free, like, what are you using that's like, temporally limited? Because like Lambda is always free up to 1 million invocations a month or 400,000 gigabyte seconds. If you use function URLs, that's free. The API gateway does charge after a year. DynamoDB has a free tier for like 10 gigs or something. S3 has a free tier for a certain number of gigs. Even like bandwidth has a free tier forever. It's not limited. It's not the first year. It depends what you're using. Even like you can run like a T3 micro. Oh my God, Bertrand, your ground station build. That is a joke targeted directly at me. Nobody in chat's going to know what ground station is. No, has anyone even used it? Do they have any customers using ground station? Should we set it up? Communicate with satellites. What a byline. The product manager's like thinking for months to try to figure this out. Reserve contacts now. Easy and cost-effective command and control. No, literally, it's you can talk to satellites from AWS. I mean, I'm sure this is like FedRAMP stuff. This is all GovCloud. Straight to S3. Everything off my satellite, straight to S3, please. You know what I should be doing? I should start benchmarking satellites. Y'all, you know what I'm saying. I should get in on those satellite imaging companies and start benchmarking them and see if they'll give me one. Get SpaceX to put one up for me. Sorry, chat. I know I shouldn't be eating on stream. It's just starving. You were working with airplane weather data via satellite, and I had a giant dish on the roof. Oh, geez. How accessible? I mean, I think you can do commercial or gov. It's just like they built it for gov. They're not going to like cut it out. Obviously, there's like the natural disasters and weather prediction. There's going to be military/gov and commercial. There's like a pretty big commercial imaging company that just sells you images. So yeah, I believe this. Okay, so was it really that stupid setting? So I had my setting at 6,000 kilobits per second. Or kilobytes per second? No, kilobits is lowercase b. And that was freaking out. And now I set it to 5900 and it's working. Yeah, Maxar is huge. There's a few that are huge. I mean, people in chat are probably, well, I think my audience skews a little older, but there's probably some young folks in chat that don't remember a time when you couldn't just like look at a satellite image of anything on the planet. One of my favorite pastimes is just like looking at Google Maps. I can do it for hours. Especially if I'm in a new place. It's like one of my favorite things to do. So this is crazy that you can just set this up. AWS has so much stuff. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, Amazon is vulnerable in a lot of ways to competition because they're not the cheapest. They have this giant tax, which is networking egress fees. Like this fee here, where you pay to send data between availability zones, and then you pay a pretty expensive like bandwidth out charge. That won't last forever because like Cloudflare doesn't charge that at all. It's just free. Network in, network out is free. They have enough backhaul agreements or whatever it is where you can get like they have enough deals with other like L1 providers where they can just transfer data for no cost basically, and they pass it on to you. I think AWS will eventually have to give that up. But the thing about it is that they have so many services. Like everything you need is right here. They spend the most on R&D out of all companies. That surprises me, actually. Maybe not. It's a huge company. I still don't think I would ever work for them. One, I'd have to stop being an AWS hero, it's pretty fun to be an AWS hero. And two, I don't think there's like, okay, if they spun off AWS from Amazon, if the store and the web services companies split, that might be more interesting. If it's purely a cloud company, that might be more interesting to me. When they're combined like that, I'm not sure I'm so into it because I think there's like just less room for the stock to go. Anyway, did we finish building? Yeah, we did. Okay. Docker tag. Oh, and we have to auth. Amazon is top one in the world. That's true. It's the biggest company, or one of them. I love that this is now my most recent. I need to get the commands. So I finally figured out, of course, why those login commands were working. It's because I was logged into like 3 different AWS accounts. So obviously that's the issue. Boom, boom. View push commands. AWS here has to be nominated. You cannot apply. You Wikipedia'd me. Thank you for that. Yeah, you get nominated by like a couple of teams internally. I think like I don't remember what the exact amount is, but you have to be like multiple teams have to nominate you. And then you can get the designation, and you just get an email. Like it just showed up one day in June like last year. I just got a note that was like, we want you to be a hero, and I was pretty excited, very excited. Oh shoot, we don't have to build. We already built. You want to rebuild? Okay. Adam is also an AWS hero. Yeah, you're hero for life unless a few things happen. They haven't actually explained that to me, but for sure you give it up if you become an AWS employee, and a lot of people have gone that route. I've been told it's like unwritten that you can kind of get like a senior DevRel job at AWS for being a hero, and I think a number of folks have. Like Brooke Jamieson did that. Jamieson, sorry, Brooke. She's awesome. She's the Australian sensation over at AWS. She was like an ML hero for I guess it sounds like a week or two before she joined. But there are a number. I think Gunnar was also one. Richard Boyd was too. Now he works at Datadog with me, so maybe they'll give him the hero designation back. But yeah, Adam, I'm so mad. Adam didn't do any of the hero. Yeah, her name's Brooke. Adam didn't do any of the hero stuff last year. He didn't like come to reInvent. He didn't hang out they have a hero summit, in Seattle. He didn't go. And then this year he's going to all of it, and I'm having a baby. I'm not going to be there. Yeah, it annoys me that Richard has a lot more followers than me on Twitter, but he's got better game. So real recognize real. What are some of the cool perks? You're treated like a rock star at AWS reInvent. That part is pretty cool. So you get like You get a free ticket. They give you a free flight, and you get to, like, they have like a bunch of parties for you. They have like a lounge area for you. We share it with the community builders, which is awesome. I'm more than happy to do that. No worries there. But you can kind of, I think the biggest perks are you get to meet with service teams. For me, that's the biggest thing. So I have met with the Lambda team a bunch. I kind of have like a quarterly meetup with PMs and engineers from the Lambda team to ask some questions about this stuff. And that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, they treat AWS Heroes incredibly well. Incredibly well. I can't believe how lavish it is. Yeah, it's swanky. Yeah, it is very swanky. And then to like cover all the flights and everything, and then in the summer they have a whole summit where they fly you out, and that's more like work. It's fun, but I like the work, right? It's talks. Different product managers get up and talk through what's coming. We get to give feedback. Yeah, and you can also get this perks by having a very large South Pole. Steve, good to see you again. Yes, of course. You can pay a lot of money to AWS and get a lot of those perks, except they don't let you have a party with Werner Vogels at reInvent unless you have a very big bill. Do you think they like you benchmarking their stuff? I think they have thoughts. I think they have thoughts. I mean, I think everyone here has seen Max's project, right? Like Lambda Perf, very popular project. He works for Amazon now, so they can't be too mad about benchmarks because he works on Lambda now. So I don't know. Oh wow, look, Rust. Rust is goated now. Number one. I don't think they mind too much. I think they want you to be right though. There have been a couple of times where they've reached out and asked me to talk about some questions. Hi, buddy. Dog's peeking in on me. All right, let's pull this container down and restart it. So it's been a while. Sorry. I know it took us a while to build this and I had to restart Docker and everything. But the biggest change is that we're generating a random number between 3 and 8. So let's see if that works. Oh no. Dun, 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 dun. Docker. Okay, so we need to I want to pull it. Lambda Perf is great. No PHP. No PHP. Docker pull latest. Docker Perf is great. Oh yeah. Do you submit feature requests all the time? All the time. Oh yeah, we have to log into. Login succeeded. Okay. Docker pull. Yeah, I submit lots of. What webhooks do you want, Regalius? We already have Lambda function URLs. That was the whole thing. That's why we got them. Ugh, Docker BS. Docker rm-fv. Been up for a week. Tell me what you want, Regalius. What do you want Lambda to do? My biggest request is to have Lambda support multiple concurrent requests. There's no reason they can't do that. Where's my Docker run command? Docker run. Let's go. Oh, you're looking for Lambda invocation with secrets. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That would be nice. Uh-oh, did it not start? Oh no. Did it crash, chat? I wrote this wrong. Yeah, Sergio, you can build an entire app with just Lambda. Absolutely. Lambda will run your entire app if you want it to. Exec format. What do you mean? What? Oh no, did I? Shoot. All right, let's try this again. Let's try and build this for the right platform. Yeah, you totally can. You can put an entire app in Lambda, no problem. I think the number one way, if you've got an entire, like a web app today that exists that you would just want to host in Lambda, my answer is to use the Lambda web adapter. This is a great project. We've been benchmarking it. It is written in Rust, and it acts as a shim, and it converts the event model into a HTTP request model. That's my best answer. This will literally, like, if you have an old Java Spring Boot app or an old PHP app that you just want to run in Lambda, you can slap this on your like Docker container, especially if it's Dockerized already. You can just slap it there and just host it straight in Lambda. Yeah, architecture changes can be needed, especially if you run, like, if your application is set up to use like Docker Compose on one box and have, you know, a Redis cache or like a Varnish cache, and then also you're using a bunch of like Nginx configuration, and, you know, your reverse proxy is doing a bunch of stuff, that, yeah, it needs a lot of like application work. You don't need the web adapter. No, I just use Hono, Nacho. I wouldn't use the web adapter. Is strictly for the best thing to use a web adapter for is if you have a application that you want to be able to move between Lambda and like Fargate, or Lambda in a container, or I'm sorry, like Lambda and like K8s or something, and you're not sure. So if you've got like an API, especially because Lambda at high scale gets expensive, and especially for APIs. For async work, it's usually still pretty cheap. Like that curve is flatter, and that curve is flatter because async invocations can receive multiple invocations at once, right? You can get a batch. You can get like a batch of 500 records and process them, and that's what makes Lambda so great. On the async path especially, it's way cheaper compared to on the API route where you get one request at a time. And this is why I'm on AWS so much, to implement multi-concurrency, where I can serve multiple requests at a time, and like let me worry about the memory. You know, like let me worry about the memory. Let me worry about the resources needed, or the number of requests I want to run concurrently, or any of that crap. Like let me do that. Let me solve that problem. I want Lambda to let me just do that, and I think they can. The model, if you study the invoke model, I read a lot of Lambda extensions for work. If you study the invoke model, it's actually already built for it. So like, so the runtime API has these three requests: next, response, and error. I guess initialize error. So if we roll these initialize invocation into one, you get three, right? Next invocation, response. So anytime in a loop, you're going to call next. Basically, you're going to say, give me the next request if it's there. This is a long poll, so you may not get a response to this. Actually, once you hit this endpoint, your function may shut down and never return. So that's something to think about. But you hit next. If there's a waiting invocation, you would get that event payload, and then you post the response, but you get a request ID. So you have to know this. So you get a request ID, and that's because when you post the response, you have to put the request ID in the response, which means there's nothing stopping you from hitting this 7 times, getting 7 requests, processing them, and then sending at any point asynchronously 7 responses. Like, that's the point that I mean. Like, Lambda is already built for concurrency. If it wasn't, it would have a pair or just like one endpoint. That's like, give me the request and I'll send you the response, and it would have no option to give me like an ID so I can do multiple. It's already literally like they designed this from the ground up to support multiple concurrent requests. So they can do this. They totally can do this. So that's what I want to see. All right, chat. I think when I ran the other, okay, that's done. Good. Okay, so Docker tag. I think when I ran that other command, it like, yeah, pushed, or it had taken the build command where I didn't have the platform. Yeah, so that's a different layer. Okay, so we changed something. So it's the wrong arch. That's why. Docker pull. I hate not having autocomplete. I need to use ZSH. Oh, it is up to date. What the hell? Yeah, I'm not saying there aren't going to be problems with it. There are. What the hell? Exact format error? What did we get wrong, chat? We didn't change anything. Oh, no, we did. This isn't right. This should be ARM or AMD 64. Yeah, I'm using ECR. So I'm pushing to ECR. None of that changed. The 30-second timeout's already lifted, Nacho. You can set it to, I don't know what the limit is. They didn't tell you, but you can push it out. Is it x86? I guess it is. So the exec format error is telling me that that compiled binary is in the wrong. It's got the wrong architecture. So it's like an ARM binary basically. It's got ARM instructions. But this looks right. Oh, is it not? Hold on. No, that looks fine. Where's my Docker desktop? Where did I put that thing? Yeah, AMD 64. That looks right. Created 17 minutes ago. Why would that not start? Sorry, you have a feeling the only reason it went up was because of Gen AI. Yeah, I would say like you could already stream responses with the function URL. I don't know why they didn't just allow that. Like API Gateway could do that. Both of these look fine. I mean, yeah, API Gateway does more, right? It's got more people using it. Absolutely. What the hell? Should we just nuke these and build it again? Probably. Why is this dangling? Is something running this? Delete. Okay, let's try this one more time. Why is this so, you know? Oh, did RNG get me here? Did the random number generator kill me because I'm using... Is there something architecturally dependent here? That wouldn't make any sense. No, it still says it's nothing. Okay, I'm gonna make an update. Wow, painting those lines even took forever. After I get off this stream, I have to figure out why this fell apart. It should compile fast though, because those depths are already all there. Yeah, I think I do think generative AI was part of the reason. Maybe all of the reason for the extended timeout of API Gateway. Not sure. Okay. Well, we talked about secrets. We talked about containers. That's pretty cool. Lambda Web Adapter. Use it. Great application. Great setup. Yeah, and we talked about why and how. Oh my god, it's so annoying that I have to like log in again. I gotta change the lifetime of these roles. I don't know why this builder won't work though, chat. We haven't changed anything since last week. My only thought would be like if we brought in some sort of dependency specific to like an architecture, but I'd be shocked if we did. That would really surprise me. Okay. Is there not a forest? Oh no, it's got... Why did that not... I changed the code this time. I added a new print line, so it can't have the same SHA. Like, there's no way it has the same SHA. Where was the last output of the Docker tag? Okay, something's wrong. So it's got the same SHA, but we changed the code. Okay, I gotta... I wonder if it's at caching. Oh, my mouse wheel is still spinning. I wonder if it's this. All right. TV Josh, you were just dealing with Lambda timeouts in my last job. Hey, welcome to chat. Thanks for saying hello. What was the timeout problem? I find a lot of people that run into Lambda timeouts are trying to do like do a ton of async work inside of the function which processes a request instead of like putting it onto a queue or writing it to Kinesis or, you know, SQS or something like that and picking up later. And I think that is one of the architectural changes we discussed earlier. I'm not sure when you tuned in. Oh, no one realizing there's a 30-second timeout? Yeah. I mean, 30 seconds is a long time for a web request. I think I typically default like the timeout to 5 seconds because I really think anything more than that, I really should be getting into an asynchronous process. You know, and having like a callback URL or like a poll URL. I think Regalius, we were talking about long polling. All AWS does for you is there's an SQS method called batch get messages. And it has a number of servers that do that for you on your own queues, and then they invoke your functions. That's all it does. There's a great talk. Julian Wood did an awesome talk about it. If you're curious, there's like a whole behind the scenes on Lambda async invoke. I think him and Holly did one at reInvent. I'll post the chat here. Hi, did that? No, where's the talk? Yeah, here. This is great. Our Lambda uses a very slow public cloud API. Yeah, just make it an async, you know? Do async and then cache it. Oh, my computer's just lugging right now, man. It was not this bad yesterday. We were able to watch YouTube on... I don't know what's going on. I'll have to shut down the whole computer and figure out what's up. Some process is just stealing CPU. No, this isn't right. This isn't the right one. I'll find it. I can tweet it. There's a whole process for this. Aurora V1 waking up is the usual suspect if you have sleep on. Yeah. The usual suspect. Oh, it needed a non-async response. So you were like proxying the request. You were like using a public API. I mean, you can still cache those, right? You can still make that request and cache it. Yeah, that's what you end up doing. Okay, this is doing a whole build. This looks better. Something different is happening. And not writes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Are you using Lambda for anything else? I gotta say, I've been in this really good happy place with Lambda where I'm building these applications using Rust and the Lambda web adapter. And then if they get busy, I just toss them straight into Fargate and then I don't have to worry about it. No problem. you know, and it's the same exact Docker container. It's the same exact Docker file, the same, you know, same code. You can just move it whenever you need to. And then if it slows down, if you've got like, you know, your company building like a, well, what we were doing was like a sports registration website where it was seasonal, then it works great in Lambda because it's only, you know, only busy one time a year. Hey, Varu, welcome to chat. The Lambda web adapter is a project we've talked about on stream a few times. It is a great project. Oopsies, that's my own tweet. It's basically designed as a tool. I can barely use this computer right now. It's designed as a tool if you've got your own existing container image and you want to bring it to Lambda, and it's like a web app basically. So if you have an application which listens on a port and responds and speaks HTTP, anything that speaks HTTP 1.1 or 1.0, and you want to run it on Lambda, yeah, thanks for coming by. And I appreciate it. I think there's a maybe a small bump in viewers here. If you're new, hi, I'm AJ Steiffenberg. I'm an AWS hero, and I'm an engineer at Datadog. I'm a staff engineer at Datadog working on serverless stuff. If you have any questions about AWS or serverless, happy to help. Feel free to drop a follow or you know, say hi. Hey, TV Josh, a couple folks. Moving to Fargate while I figure out why I have these 2 seconds cold starts. That's a skill issue, Nacho. Gotta help you with that, though. Fargate is just managed K8s. Not quite. I think they accomplish some of the same thing. But yeah, it's the orchestration of the containers is managed for you, and it's free. And then you just pay for the compute that your cluster uses. And ECS is similar to Fargate, where you have, the only difference is you get to pick what hardware, what compute is running. So Fargate is just like launch a task. Skill issue and time. Yeah, I feel you. So the Fargate, you sort of just like pick a task and give it a certain number of vCPU and memory, and then ECS you kind of can construct your own cluster, and then I think you do have to pay for that compute. You do, yeah. It just runs on the host. Both are pretty good. I like Fargate. That said, I carry the pager for a Kubernetes cluster at work. Although I think I'm going off call tonight or tomorrow morning. I think I go off call. And that's fine too. I just don't, you know, with K8s, you pay so much money and overhead and just running the thing. And I think for most small companies, it's just unneeded, especially if you're like, you know, if your number one cost is developers, you probably don't need K8s, right? You should probably focus on something else and use that time for your developers to build your product. Once you start, you know, trying to cut your costs and you know, focus on that kind of thing, then you can move it. The stream is like a free AWS cloud course. Thanks. Yeah, been doing AWS for a long time. You're running local Lambda with the npm local Lambda package and Express Gateway. That's great. Yeah, Hono web adapter. Hono is great too. We've been testing it all week. Hono is awesome. And yeah, I wouldn't combine Hono and the web adapter because they do similar things. You don't need both at once. However, I would say if you have an existing project that's already a container, and you just want to run it on Lambda, like the classic example, you know, you got an old Java app that you just want to get off of a box that is in the closet. You can use the web adapter and drop it straight into Lambda, and that's where it's super useful. Like that's what's so clutch about it. I think a lot of people ask over and over, like, why would I start a brand new project like this? Like you typically wouldn't. I do because I want to move stuff around, but if you don't have that need, you don't need to. Hono is great. If you're gonna start a brand new project, you know you like JavaScript, you know it's gonna run in Lambda. Hono's awesome. Hono, we're mutuals, the author. I don't know how to pronounce his name either. But it's great. You know, if you've got an existing app, or if you're like me and you want to build your API in a way you can move it. Thoughts on Power Tools? Love Power Tools. Love Aitor Lessa. Power Tools is great. There are other services and tools. At a certain point, you know which parts of Power Tools you want, and you just build it yourself, or you have it yourself. Structured logging, for example, metrics, for example, like I've got all of that stuff built in. Like I work at Datadog, I work on those tools, so we have our own. I've not used DigitalOcean serverless, Bertrand. I've not tried that yet. My best advice on Power Tools is I think I saw it on Twitter from somebody else, but like even if you don't use Power Tools, you should read about Power Tools, read the code, and understand if you want those parts in your application, because there are some really good lessons there. We're compiling Synology now. That's great. Okay. Yeah. So Lambda has a bunch of, like, Power Tools just has a bunch of support for stuff out of the box. that can be really, really useful. Yeah, the concepts are super helpful. I mean, parameters, batch processing, like they have that idempotency feature, which is great. Like you're going to need this anyway. What cool projects do you recommend to build? I don't know too much. I don't know any front end. Datadogs advertises in German in the Netherlands. This mistake happens at so many American companies. We have like a marketing VP. We have a whole office in Amsterdam now. I don't know why they're screwing that up. That is funny though. Sergio, my only recommendation for projects is build something you care about. Build something you give a shit about. Because if you don't, you're not going to keep up with it. Like building something, for me, building something to learn something hasn't been a great path. I've always had to have an assignment or have a task or have something I wanted to do. And then I'm motivated to build. And then I just learn it from there. Like that's how I picked up Rust. I've tried multiple times to like go through the Rust book and just failed miserably at it. And then I had a project which I knew probably had to be in Rust. And before I even started the project, I wrote a document justifying to my boss and the company that why we needed to pick Rust. And everyone agreed, so I started learning it. And that's just what a professional has to do. You know, you don't necessarily have to know the tool to know it's going to be the right tool. So far, it's by far been the right tool. It's blown away our expectations. But yeah, that's just the job. Like I think I have to put myself in a place where I have to use something. I don't think I can like say, oh, I want to do this little side project and I'll just use it. For me, I just tend to lose interest in the side project itself. Wish the TypeScript Power Tools lib had a more from the Python lib. Oh yeah, because Aitor Lessa, the guy that wrote it, was like it all started as Python. I understand that. It'll get there. And hey, you know, pull request welcome. You want to be that author, you can. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right. TV Josh, what mistake? Oh, the mistake of using the wrong language in the wrong country. Wow, it's nice that it's like chilly here because it's about to be very, very warm. 90-degree Fahrenheit next week. I don't know what that is in European units. All right, we are still building, but we can still provide some more hot takes while we build. Yeah, but love Power Tools. Like I said, if you're not gonna use it, 32C. Thank you, Velociraptor. Almost the temperature that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. Can't believe a dinosaur joke got you to drop the follow and say hello. Yeah, Power Tools for Lambda. It includes all this great stuff. The idempotency table is pretty good. You need that. This is one of those examples that I talk about all the time. Serverless developers, if you're brand new to software development and you start with serverless, there's going to be some goofy things that you don't expect. And one of the primary ones is like concurrency, like serving multiple requests at the same time. where they're not on the same machine, and you have to synchronize that. And typically what that means is your database and your data layer and asynchronous systems have to accept the fact that you're going to get duplicate requests, and you're just going to have to handle that. And on one server, you don't have to worry about it. You can very easily say, oh, is anybody else touching this thing? No? Well, then you can use it or not, right? You can implement a mutex. And in Lambda, you can't do that because the individual functions don't communicate. So, Power Tools gives you this database, like an idempotency key. In this case, it's using DynamoDB, and you can just do that yourself. You can easily just create a Dynamo table for idempotency and do conditional updates, which you'll have to do because, of course, Dynamo is eventually consistent. So you do get a durable write. It's a consistent write, but not necessarily a consistent read. So if you're going to do this process where you're going to read a value, and if this thing is, false, you're going to go run something and then set it to true. It's totally possible and will happen that two functions will do that at the same time. And you have to account for that. And the way you account for that is by doing conditional updates. And that's what makes your sort of read turn into a write. So that's what it's doing. That's an idempotency key. So these are things, like I said, you'd ask why I don't use this that much. I use all of these concepts. I use every single one of these concepts. I just have either this part is built into Datadog, so I don't need it. It's all automatic. You don't have to include any code at all. Or the idempotency stuff. I've got a kind of my own pattern for this that I don't necessarily need. I build it into the data structures that I'm using. So if I'm going to store rows for users, I can build my idempotency into conditional updates. You got to fight a staff engineer. Your staff engineer should understand distributed systems enough to understand why idempotency is important. And if not, we should buy him that book, Designing Data-Intensive Applications. Or they just haven't ran into that problem, which is kind of weird. I would expect most staff level engineers at software companies to have that kind of experience. In-memory cache is great. Secrets management is great. Data serialization, deserialization, good things to have, especially if you want to start using, protobuf or message pack. People forget JSON is so embedded into our brains, but there's other ways to send data on the wire that's more efficient typically. Yeah. Look at all these metrics. See, these are great. We just have I have support for this stuff already. But yeah, you should use it. Learn about it, use it. I wonder how different the TypeScript version is. Oh, not a tech company. Yeah, that can explain it. And a lot of times senior staff engineers at non-tech companies have been there a while. And that's one of the problems, actually. Norman Rockwell, freedom of speech, changed my mind. Or not change my mind. You know this. You should switch companies so that you learn a little bit about different problems that you might not have at your company. That's my hot take right there. Switching companies to get a new a salary. We should tweet this actually. Switching companies to adjust your salary is less important than switching companies to learn more about problem domains that you may not have experienced or you might not ever experience. Sergio, I write my own because that's what I do for a living. But you can use Datadog. That's what I always recommend. You can also create your own spans using CloudWatch. There's other tools. OpenTelemetry is good too. It depends what you're performance testing. If you're testing a single process, you don't need any of these tools. Here we go. What were you saying, Varu, about switching companies to adjust your salary is less important, or to double your salary can be less important than. Oh my god, I can't believe my computer's lagging so badly. Why doesn't AWS invest in CloudWatch? They do, but differently. My hot take on CloudWatch is that it is such an empire building thing. They have so many different features and products, they just don't see them through because I think they're trying to just there's some director or some VP there that's trying to be the VP of CloudWatch, and they just keep growing the org out instead of making the things they have better. That's my hot take. Oh my god, I can't even type. It's lagging so bad. Oh my god. The lag. I can't believe it. I I can barely type. What is even happening? Datadog does cost money. Yeah, it's not a free product. Although, oh, there it is right there. Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster encoder. I mean, Docker is still running away with our CPU right now. But I bet you if I kill Docker, it's like still going to freak out. I mean, CloudWatch costs money. Like I'm paying for CloudWatch just for these metrics. So telemetry and observability is expensive. Here, let's do this the other way. Well, what should we say? Experience a different problem domain or to like grow? Not product, problem. You're thankful that you ended up working with a principal engineer that's worked in enough different companies where his takes are grounded and knowledgeable. That's good. That's great. You hang on to those people and enjoy that because that doesn't last forever. Someone's gonna offer that person too much money and they're gonna bounce, or they're gonna want to do this too. Oh my god, I can't believe it. It's so laggy right now. Oh. Oh, Theo's take about learning Git. So Can't Fathom, I was saying you should learn Git if you want a job writing code is controversial. It still does. It depends on, like, in a lot of companies, it depends on the price of the stock. I mean, they're just not hiring huge numbers of people anymore. But I do think the economy is getting a lot better. Like, here, does chat want to read my LinkedIn messages? Is my autoresponder still working? Oh my god, this is so bad. Browser running like I know it's so bad. I had to restart the stream because OBS was freaking out. Yeah, next week's stream will be better, I promise. I've got no followers or no subs this stream because I'm sure it's just like horribly bad. So I apologize. Datadog is still hiring. Yeah, we have another 160 people we're hiring. Okay, the autoresponder is still working. Yeah, so here, do you want a job? Real-time ML at TCon Series C. There's a company. Here's a company. This is in Boston. I don't think you'd want to do this. So I'm getting, I mean, that's a fair amount. There's like, in a week, there's probably 5 or 6. Applied.co. This could be cool. Applied Intuition, a profitable Series E startup. Those are some magic words because like this could be, you know, a profitable Series E startup could be the next public company that you can cash out in. You know what I mean? Or your equity can be worth a bunch. So that can be valuable. Yeah, I know. I'm going to Applied.co. Docker's still running. It feels a little bit better now. This is cool. The definitive ADS and AD development toolchain for AI-powered, I'm assuming self-driving vehicles. Wow, even the browser is lagging. Yeah, we're hiring. Yeah. Careers in engineering. Let's look. I think it's got to be like under 100 and under 200, but 150 plus would be my guess. Yeah, 179. Hey, here's a K8s dev advocate remote. I'll drop that in chat. Do you know K8s? Here. Yeah, so we're hiring here, and I think we put all the salaries. Yeah, so 136 to 174K. So we don't use ECS, no. I use it myself, but I use Fargate. But we are on our own K8s deployment. When you need to own the specific instances and you care about the instance types, that matters. So yeah, hot take on the economy. I actually think it's getting better. For sure, the like staff and like senior stuff, like AWS is reaching out again. Like Google is reaching out again. I think I've got 2 or 3 AWS messages in here. Tilt, Liftoff, LinkedIn reached out. Greylock reached out. This is earlier this month, but that's a fair number. Hey, Orcs, welcome to chat. That doesn't include. That's a remote role. I'm sure it would pay a little bit better in New York. 174 would be tough in New York. Simply Safe, more Amazon. I swear I got a Google or Meta one recently. So like it's coming back. I think definitely at the like staff. Yeah, remote. Yeah, it is remote. But that also doesn't include RSUs. Yeah, there's like 2 Amazons in here. Boston-based AI startup. Never. Never. Nacho's hiring. What was this one? 264K. Renowned biopharma. If somebody wants this role, let me know. I'll find out who it was. So yeah, I think things are slowly but surely coming back. There was a time where I didn't get anything in my DMs for a good minute, and now I'm kind of getting like, you can see this like 1 or 2 per day. It's not quite the heyday where it was. I couldn't even keep up. My script was timing out in Lambda, and it was like exploding. But yeah, it's not quite the heyday that it was. Come on, is this done yet? I want to get one of these off. I don't know why this is so bad. It can't just be Docker, because we streamed over and over building this, and it was not a big deal. Oh, Regulus, I didn't mean that to be a flex. I'm sorry, chat. I didn't intend at all for that to be a flex. That was entirely just to show Varu what I think about the market. I've kept heads down at my company trying to learn. Absolutely. Yeah. Learn, earn, or both, right? That's the Gary Tan thing. I don't think I like a lot of what that guy says, but that's good advice. Like, if you're learning a lot, that's great. If you're earning a lot, that's great. Ideally, you do both. But if you're doing neither, it's time to leave. You meant it in a funny way. Okay, good. I'm sorry. I was like, oh shit, did I offend people because I showed them people? I'm sure. I know it's a hard time, and if you're out of a job, it's probably tough. But it's coming back, is what I'm trying to say. I think the market is coming back. And yeah, like I said, my company's still hiring a bunch, and we do have some remote roles. And yeah, I think they're gonna pay like a little less than New York City. Aitor, we do love him. Shout out Aitor Lessa. I had coffee with that guy just a year ago. That was awesome. Alexander's cool too. I think I met him at reInvent. Yeah, Power Tool's a great project. You guys should use it especially if you're in Lambda, and if you don't know the concepts, and these concepts can be applied anywhere. Over your career arc, you're gonna learn so many different facets of what you're doing in your job can be applied outside of the narrow domain you're learning them. You're gonna learn a concept like idempotency. That goes everywhere. That is something you do in any kind of distributed system. That's super important. Same with, of course, distributed tracing. Same with, managing in-memory caches. Just picking examples off the screen here. You're in Sweden. You didn't have a massive dip, but hiring here is also increasing. Yeah, it was tough. The bounce back was tough. But I do think it's getting better, and I really hope the people that were really caught out, the people I feel really badly for is the new grads. That's hard. I was going to college in 2008, in the aftermath of 2008, and I remember like trying to get a job my freshman year of college, and I was competing for like a Subway job, like making sandwiches and working at a grocery store with people that had college degrees, because the market was that bad. So I didn't put, SQS is at least once delivery, except the FIFO SQS queue allows you to guarantee once. Kafka and Kinesis both have a concept of guaranteed once delivery. Explaining that fun fact to my staff was a pain. It's in the docs. It's in the docs, man. Just send your staff. This is okay. Aaron Francis is also right about this. Read the docs. When I learn these services, when I first learned these, I literally read this top to bottom. I skipped some of these, but like I read this top to bottom. It's so worthwhile to do this because you learn all this stuff like, oh yeah, of course it's a distributed system. They're going to have your copy of your message on multiple servers for availability, but you may, one of those might not be available when you receive a message, so it won't know. So your applications have to be idempotent. There's that word again. Just jumps right out at you. Quotas, another big one. You should, in your head, these should be things that you're thinking about. Long poll wait time. So, okay. Regalius, you were asking earlier about long polling. What if you had to build your own poller, which AWS and Lambda do for you, but if you were going to deploy like an EC2 instance and listen to a message, or I'm sorry, listen to a queue, when you call the method get batch messages, you can put it in a long poll method, so it will actually just not respond to you. It will queue that request, and your HTTP request to it will sit and wait. And it will seem like a long request, but all it's doing is just waiting for messages to show up. That way you don't have a bunch of back and forth with no data to process. So if you have a slow queue, maybe you're only getting, 5 messages a minute, 20 messages a minute, it will wait up to 20 seconds before sending you that response, so that if messages show up, it can send them to you. That's long polling. And then you can when you long poll, you can slowly increase the duration between polls as well. And that can reduce the network traffic. These are all important to learn. But yeah, read this stuff end to end. You're an intern on the data team. You're placed on the AWS team. Read the docs day in and day out as much as possible. Yeah. That's it. Also, one of the fastest way to grow is to be left with the bag and have to fix it. I've been there. Actually, I bombed so hard at this, I gave a talk. Give a talk on this. Can I type again? Okay, that looks like that's done. See, the reason I think that it's not just Docker, I think it's my encoder, is because it's still chugging along, just loading YouTube. Like, I can't even type straight. Most out of your Elastic. In the wolves in a fire pit, yeah. So this is some OG AJ stuff.
Good afternoon, everybody.
This is 5 years ago.
My name is
Post this
John
in chat.
I'm a principal solutions architect with AWS, and I focus on our search services.
So this is a long time ago, 2018
by,
reInvent.
Andy and AJ from NBC Sports Engine.
We made.
We got a great session for you. We have first half. We're going to talk about.
We made all of these mistakes.
We service thousands of organizations, millions
building
of athletes,
Elasticsearch, and eventually they let us give a talk about it.
So we have 60 distinct services throughout our platform.
And they did this because obviously we had a lot we could teach because we fucked this all up. But this was like we had inherited this platform from somebody that was way more senior than me, and they left. And then I ended up working our way through it, myself and my team, and it was brutal. It was really, really hard. These were 3 different problems that we ended up actually splitting between 3 people. So I think I took challenge 2 directly. Somebody else had the zero downtime reindexing, and somebody else built out like a multi-tenant cluster solution. So we had actually multiple clusters, and we were able to shard tenants. And yeah, it was brutal. It was so brutal. But we did it and learned a lot. Excited to go into this talk. I didn't get to meet many folks in the company that went through the growing pains. My team is a guinea pig for everything did on AWS. Yeah, we were too. This was guinea pig era for us. I'll let folks watch the talk. We don't have to go through it. It's an hour, and a lot of it isn't even relevant as much anymore because Elasticsearch, while still being very popular, has changed a lot. And they also have their own licensing thing, their own licensing disaster. Yeah. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, that's a bunch of new code, so hopefully... Okay, and a new SHA. That's good. It had a single good experience with Elasticsearch. It works great when you... it works really, really good when you... or works really, really well when it has tons of memory to eat. Full text search, though, if you watch the talk, in your head, you should be saying, we don't actually need full text search for this. And Datadog has actually migrated away from Elasticsearch entirely. So we built this thing called Husky. Richie wrote this. This is great. Legend Richie. Good luck on WarpStream. He's now working on WarpStream, which is a sweet Kafka replacement built on S3. Yeah, a lot of people do a lot of people set up Elasticsearch for metrics, and it's just not a full-time data store. It's really like if you're not using it for full text search, it kind of is difficult to get right. But this product initially was built on Elasticsearch. Do we talk about that here? I think we do. No, maybe not. Oh, is this the older one? Where's the first one? Oh no, this is the. Here we go. This is what we want. Huskies, yeah. So Husky is this storage system that stores data into S3 in a blob store. And the most important part of this is that it splits ingesting and indexing from querying. So the compute for indexing is completely different from the compute for querying. And the biggest reason is that we can scale those independently. And that's a huge benefit. So the big design here was like, can we split up writing and reading? And that is something you don't get with Elasticsearch. You can get a specific query node, but otherwise you just get generic nodes. We can plug this here too. This is sweet. I believe ClickHouse does something similar, although I'm not an expert here. I've only worked on this system. I've not worked on ClickHouse. But the cool thing here is that we write all this data into S3. And we do that because we get durability guarantees and we get performance guarantees that we can really rely on. And they're not specifically super fast, but it's really consistent out to massive numbers. So when n gets really big, we're storing like, terabytes and terabytes of data. It stays very consistent, and that's the benefit. So this is actually going to talk about all of our sharding technique. This is a super cool blog post. Auto upscaling. We're using WPA, which is popular. I think somewhat popular. 200 stars. Boom, boom. Yeah, this is Charlie's work. Oh, oh yeah. Sorry, we pulled it. Okay. Can this run? Can this please run? Please don't give me that format error. There we go. Oh no, wrong version of glibc. What the heck? Perfect evening read. Yeah, you'll love it, Velociraptor. All right, I'm gonna have to fight this later. It's 2. I gotta be out of time because I gotta go and do some pre-dad things. But I really appreciate everybody hanging out. If you're new here, you haven't been here, I'm AJ. Thanks for spending time. Appreciate if you would hit the follow button so you can follow along, get notified when I go live again. I tend to stream on the weekends right around 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to go find someone to raid, though. Who should we raid? Boom, 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 boom. Chill vibes. I think we should raid. Let's raid. We'll raid Trash Puppy. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. I literally can't even type right now. That's so frustrating. And I'll try to figure out the encoding issues. Yeah, you're welcome. Feel free to DM me, ask any questions you have. Really appreciate y'all hanging out. And let's go raid Trash Puppy and say hello. All right. Catch y'all next time.